We were attracted from the very beginning. Anderson University, college at that time, had experienced some challenging financial times. And my predecessor, Dr. Lee Royce, who's now president of Mississippi College, did a wonderful job of helping to stabilize the school financially and getting it pointed in the right direction. And I've often said that if he had not done the good job that he did, I probably would not be here today.
Right.
Our emphasis has been growth and diversification and refinement. And that's the opportunity we saw, and that's the experience that we've had. Mm-hmm. The recession had a limited impact on Anderson University. I'm not a financial expert, so I wouldn't venture to say that there wasn't some effect, but we had managed things intentionally, very carefully, so that we were not dependent on some less stable streams of income that many institutions are dependent upon. And because of that, we were not hit quite as hard.
Sure.
And then we went into it campus-wide with an attitude that we're going to come out of this recession stronger than we went into it. So even though we're facing financial headwinds, we're going to cut through that, and we're going to work harder than we've ever worked to take advantage of this situation, whatever it may deal us.
Right.
And because of the hard work of a lot of people on campus and the Lord's blessing, and I mean that sincerely, I think we did survive in a grand way the recession 2008, and I think we did emerge from it stronger than we were when we went into it, although we were fairly strong when we went into it. We're very intentional about doing our homework before we launch into any new venture. We've also lived by some very strong rules of stewardship. We don't build buildings until we have a substantial amount of the building funded. We try to only do things that are smart moves for our university. Mm-hmm. And I think another part of the confidence comes in knowing who we are and what we do well. Mm-hmm. And we know that the true elegance of an Anderson University experience is made up of several things, but we're absolutely focused on a quality academic experience, rigorous academic experience. We're very sincere and intentional about our mission as a Christian university. We love helping young people mature over their 4 years here and find greater clarity about the direction of their own lives. We are doing the kinds of things technologically, innovatively, that is helping us to be a different kind of institution. We're always going to have the same kind of experience for the Anderson student. That's not going to change, but it may be delivered in different ways. It may be taken advantage of in different ways. For instance, we have a lot of online classes. Mm-hmm. Those classes are primarily for adult and graduate students, and it's designed to give them a choice. Oftentimes they have a choice between seated classes or online, and online gives individuals the opportunity to have more flexibility with their own time and schedule. I don't fear the online revolution, so to speak, to take over the traditional work that we're in, as long as what we do is quality. Mm-hmm. I do think that as coming generations more and more grow up with a comfortable level of use of online learning, that the probability that some students will choose to take coursework online will increase. But I think there will always be a market for a quality on-campus experience, because even though you can maintain a level of quality and transfer of knowledge and information with online delivery, online educational experience just doesn't provide some of the face-to-face and cultural experiences you're going to have on campus. This idea that the bricks and mortar colleges are going away, I just don't buy into it. As a matter of fact, if you look at the growth of Anderson University, we have a number of adult students and graduate students, and that has grown consistently over the last few years. But the great growth in Anderson University has been on campus. It is our intention to continue to remain one of America's 100 best college buys. We very carefully manage how we advise students to use debt to finance their education. We want our students to know that it's not a bad thing if you have to borrow some funds to go to college, but you need to use good judgment and good sense about that, and you don't need to borrow more than makes sense. There is a great deal of confusion, though, in the debt story. At this institution, our debt is right about the national average, but there are other institutions that really encourage students to take out more debt than they should. And so when it became aware that some students were borrowing more funds than they should to go to college, then the public outcry and the indictment was that all schools are guilty of this, and that's just not the case.
Right.
Going to school in South Carolina is a very good deal, no matter where you go.
Right.
It's very affordable. That's not to mean that it's not challenging.
Sure.
But it's very affordable, and we have some of the best institutions anywhere, I think, right here in South Carolina. As a practical matter, in budget discussions over the last few years, we could have made many arguments for raising tuition more than we did, and ultimately that would have probably benefited students, because they would have had more resources. But we realize that for many people, it doesn't matter how resourced you are, you can't afford certain levels of tuition, and so we kept that consciously as low as possible. We at Anderson, our philosophy is we don't go up any more than we absolutely have to. Our thinking has been that we want every student, every faculty member, to feel that once they become a member of this university, that we want them to always feel like they're an insider and that no one is an outsider. And it's awfully easy for people, and all kinds of people, to feel like outsiders if an organization and its people don't work hard at making sure that we make people feel welcome and valued at the institution. And I think our faculty and staff have done a tremendous job with that, and our students have done a tremendous job with it. And there's just such a great spirit among the students here on campus. But our goal is to continue to get better and better and better at what we do, to be stronger next week than we were this week, to be stronger next year than we were this year. And so you'll see a lot of language with respect to that. We're also looking at stewardship as a way of just being good stewards of the finances that we have, to make sure that our costs don't get out of control, to make sure that students of all backgrounds who are qualified academically to be at Anderson somehow can come here to school. That's important to us. We do not want Anderson to be just a place for people who are wealthy, and it's not that place. Most of our students have a lot of financial aid. We give a lot of institutional scholarships to students that they wouldn't be able to come here if we didn't give that, and we're going to continue to do that because it's important. We believe in the product of the Anderson University experience, and we want every student who wants that to have an opportunity to have it if that's what they want.